Welcome, everyone. I'm going to get started. My name is Ali, Director for the Need Foundation, and I'm so glad you're all here watching this video, whether live or the recording. We have our Healthy Bodies Day. I like to move it, Healthy Bodies Day coming up next Saturday, August 10th. And so this is our info meeting where you're going to learn the inspiration for this event and just how to have that confidence going into the event and so that you can really make a difference with the kids and also kind of have a bit of a insider look onto what's going to happen at our event. We're also going to I'm going to introduce Shannon Cochran, who has been longtime Front of For the Need volunteer and consultant and member of her own organization, Innovative You, and she's going to talk to you about some inspiration and about the heart behind this event and what you can kind of keep in mind as you're going into it. We're also then going to feature Taylor Piesinger, our brand new program coordinator. There she's waving. She's incredible. She's been here for 2 months, and this is going to be her first event with us. And she is doing our MentorHub presentation today. For especially our bows, we are going to be inspiring you to connect with our mentees, our arrows at our event. And we're going to be making that as easy as we can for you. And she's going to explain all of that. And then following those things, we will have a Q&A at the end for the remainder, and we'll wrap up by 6. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon.
Hi there. Thanks so much for letting me share, Ali, and teach about this. This is something that is so near and dear to my heart because, building healthy habits, whether it's in motion or in all the different areas, is so beneficial to every aspect of our lives. So the big thing that we want to keep helping our arrows to understand is that we don't give up. Like none of these things that they're going to be learning are going to be something that magically works with a one-time deal. That these things are about keep trying, keep implementing good habits because good habits create good results. So we want to make sure that good habits create good results. Um, so how do we know if our good habits are creating good results? And that's by tracking our progress. So in each section that we're going to go through, there's going to be these rotations, and they're going to look a little bit different this time because the red and the yellow, they're going to start out in the gym, and they're going to go through 2 different rotations. And then the green and the blue, they're going to be in the auditorium and they're going to be going on different rotations. And then if they opt out for either one of those two because they're pretty high energy, and we have some kids sometimes don't have that high energy of moving and really wanting to do, the taekwondo or the martial arts or all those different things. We're going to have a great class led for flexibility. So it's just like stretching and moving. There's all kinds of different options that the kids are going to be able to take. So we're not glued to one bow and just these arrows. We're actually going to be moving and rotating around to these different events. The whole idea is one thing is that we're in motion. Like our bodies in motion are so important, but we need to track that progress. So the different facilitators will talk about like how do you check your pulse and how do we know if we're getting better each time? Because ultimately we don't want to be comparing ourselves to other people. We only want to be comparing ourselves to each other. So in each event that we're doing, each rotation, we want to talk about, okay, how can we get better at this? How do we track our progress? And we're not looking for perfection. That's a big thing. Like a lot of times in our head, we think we've got to do it and we've got to do it perfect. But actually, there is no perfect. And this is true for all of us, right? In our own lives, we don't want to look for perfection. We want to look for progress because there's always going to be something that we can strive for to be better at. And so we want to look at how we're progressing in things. And if we don't give up, we're always going to be progressing. So again, reiterating, we don't give up. We keep adding on to these things. We keep getting better and better and better if we don't give up. Looking for where we started and how to track that progress is important. And that's important in our lives, and that's important in the kids' lives. So moving forward from looking at perfection, why? Why do we do this? Why is this event so important? And that's because movement is important to our overall health. Movement helps out with our stress levels. If we go into different things, the idea is we're introducing different things like martial arts or maybe volleyball or soccer or even stretching, flexibility, yoga, breathing. All these things are different ways of moving our bodies to help us deal with a lot of different things in life. So if we're in motion, dealing with stress is going to help us. Or dealing with stress goes from motion, moving, getting up, walking, getting up and focusing on a different goal in life helps us to deal with the stress in our lives. It takes our brain out of that stress that we've been thinking about and circling in our brains, and it gives us a brain break. Because now, let's just take soccer, for instance. If we're thinking about taking that foot on the ball and moving the ball forward, we're giving our brain a break in not thinking about all the other chaos that's going on in our lives. So moving and getting better and better at moving that soccer ball forward is actually helping us to move forward in our own lives because we're in motion. And it's helping us to give a brain break from that stress in our lives. So anything that we can keep going and getting better and better at, we're going to have a natural flow that starts happening in our lives. And it gives us something that we feel good about ourselves in, right? So we've got that stress level brain break. It also helps us to deal with emotions because as we're moving forward with things, whether it's soccer, whether it's just jogging down the street, or even if going for a walk, those things being in motion can help our emotional level. When we're sad about something, when we're angry about something, just going for a walk, going for a jog, kicking the ball around helps our emotional level to drop because we're not focusing on the stress that's causing those emotions to be higher. And it can kind of clear our brains so that we're thinking about things with a different perspective. We're pulling ourselves back even as we're moving forward. Also, the other thing about being in motion is that we have part of our body is a circulatory system that helps our immune system. Your heart pumping, your breath breathing, and your hormones and your immune system moving throughout your body deals with our immune system and how we feel, whether we're sick, whether it's a cold, or whether it's just other things that your body's fighting off, bacteria or viruses or things like that. Being in motion, moving the blood around in our bodies helps our bodies to fight those different immunity issues. So being in motion and not giving up helps our bodies to be healthy in so many ways. It helps our bodies to deal with stress, to deal with emotion, to deal with our immune system, but then it also helps build our self-esteem. Because as we don't give up and we keep moving forward and tracking our progress, we start feeling better about something that we're doing. We're getting better and better at something, and we can feel good about it. And when you start to be good at something, when there's a natural flow that moves and you can escape from everything else because you just got your eye on the ball, or you're just focusing on the rhythm of your foot hitting the pavement as you jog or walk, or stretching, breathing, any of that, you start to feel better about yourself as you track that progress. Remember, we don't want to measure ourselves against anybody else, because there's always somebody that's way better than us at something. But there's always somebody who's just starting and they're not as good as we are. So we don't want to compare ourselves to somebody else. We only want to compare ourselves to where we started. And when we don't give up and we have progress and not perfection, we start feeling good about ourselves. So this is what we want to push forward with our arrows. We want to help them to build self-esteem. We want them to know that they can progress in any area of their life if they just don't give up. And we're just introducing them to a few things that maybe they will fall in love with. Like maybe they'll love volleyball, maybe they'll love martial arts, maybe they'll love stretching, and just getting those things to where, yes, they can grab a hold of it and they can start progressing in it and feeling good about themselves. And it's going to start on that day, on the 10th, the second Saturday of the month, that they start going, hey, I started here. And as they start progressing and feeling better about themselves, and then hopefully they will be able to start contacting their bows and telling them about how they're progressing, how they're getting better. So now I'm going to hand it off to Taylor, because she's going to tell you about the MentorHub and how we can start connecting our bows and arrows together, in how we're tracking progress in any area of our lives, and how we're not going to give up on these kids and they're not going to give up on themselves. All right, Taylor, take it from here.
So I will be giving an introduction for those of you who don't know what MentorHub is, the vision behind it, the program structure, and how we're going to roll it out at the next event, and then any questions that anybody may have. So MentorHub is an app where we can connect our bows and arrows together in between events. We can create that engagement and the support and community that our bows or that our arrows need. So what we're looking for is to create that community so that our arrows feel fully supported, motivated, and to achieve their full potential for their future. Because we're not just here for events. We are here to make the lives of our arrows better in any possible way that we can. And this is just one of those ways. So the goal of this is to bridge the gap between our events, and that's not just within communications, it's within knowledge as well, and resources that we can give them. Our second goal would be to get 80% of our 11 to 18-year-olds with devices. So that could be a computer, a phone, however they can connect to a mentor and then be highly engaged on the app. Now, we're also committed not only to our arrows, we're committed to our bows as well, our mentors, and ensuring that you guys have all of the success that you'll need for creating the support and everything else that we're looking for through MentorHub. We're going to do that through creating those relationships, fostering the ones that we already have, and creating new ones as we get new bows in, through guidance, consistent guidance to our arrows, and to navigate personal challenges, social challenges, could be academic, it could be anything that they need. Bridging the gaps, again, not just in communication between events, but also the knowledge, skills, and resources that our bows provide to the arrows. And then retention. We're looking to keep our arrows in and our bows. We want to create this community where everybody can go to everyone for whatever they may need. Where the target audience that we're trying to retain the most is our arrows and our crossbows. So our arrows are our mentees. They are the children that we are servicing through the events and the mentorships. But we're also, and again, some of you may not know, some of you do, our crossbows as well. And those are the kids who have graduated from our program and who have desired to become volunteers as well. They're considered crossbows. Those are the two that we're looking to create those mentorships with. We will be doing that, creating those relationships and selecting mentors by finding bows that are trusted and safe allies. They have to be live scanned and Megan's Law checked. But we also will be looking for good references. Now, we're not gonna go asking your employer or your 3 best friends for references. That's not what we will be doing. But we do want to know that you have good character and that we can trust you on these apps. MentorHub helps us with that as well. They have safety checks and safety protocols as well, but we like to know who you are before we match you with a child. And then we also want connected and existing friendships and those relationships between the mentor and the mentee and those who are committed to For the Need. So long-standing and those who have been with the program for a long time. Now, how we will be matching the bows to the arrows is our match support specialist and our MentorHub liaison, which would be me, will be looking for matches while we are at the events. So we will identify arrows who have their parents have given consent, that they have a phone, and they have been asked or have come to us looking for a mentor. We're not going to force these children to get on the app, but we want as many of them there as we can. So if hyping it up, making sure that they know about it. Once we get the kids onto the app, which will also happen at the events, we will have a 2-month trial period, 2 to 3 months, and then we'll get feedback from the bows and the arrows about any changes or adjustments that need to be made, whether they enjoy their partnership or whether they'd like to maybe explore a different one. After that 2-month trial, we will have ongoing support. So regular check-ins, tracking, and continuous training. So there will be more of this on the way. And then we will be creating engagement. So for our bows, these are ways that we will help you guide your conversations and keeping the arrows engaged within the program. So it'll be through broadcasts, which are just messages that we will be sending out, assessments for check-ins and progress reports on whether they're enjoying it, doing, how they're doing, and whether they like their mentor, whether they, anything like that. Their guides, now we've already created a few of them. One will be given at the next event, which is going to be a scavenger hunt to get them in the app and actually working it and familiar with all of the things that it provides. We've also got one for fitness. We've got another for visions for the future, which is they'll be able to create a virtual vision board. And then another is finding their spark, and that is creating or career exploration. And then reminders as well about events, helping the bows with the arrows, creating goals and things like that. So we have rolled out MentorHub once before, but it didn't work as well as we were expecting it to. So we've taken another deep dive into MentorHub and have come up with a different process. We right now have 10% engagement, just about 10%. We are projecting 80. So we are going to use all of the things that I just listed to help you create that engagement and to create those relationships. Now, to get this rolled out, we're going to be having this presentation here, but also at the volunteer orientation and at the opening ceremony, there will be a brief discussion and description of what MentorHub is, so that our volunteers who haven't seen this, or all of our families who don't know what MentorHub is, will know, and they can give consent or not to their children to allow their kids on to MentorHub. And then in between, myself and the match support specialist, who will be Priyal, some of you may know her, we will be going around and talking to all of the arrows and getting their consent and whether they have a mentor that they want to choose. And then we'll reach out to the mentors, the bows as well, to get their consent. So there will be two-way consent to be able to have the partnership on the app. And then we will do the scavenger hunt during free time. And then lastly, there is some safety and security that we want to make sure and ensure that you guys know that this app, we've done a lot of research into it, and that we are creating a safe environment for both mentor and mentee. So the arrows can flag the bows and it stops all communication. We have reached out to MentorHub for the bows to have the same access to cut full contact but as of right now, they don't have that. So if you do need to cut contact with your arrow, you will reach out to either me or the match support specialist, which will be Priyal. We will be conducting random safety checks. So we, as the back end, have access to all of the messages, any meetings that have been conducted, all of their guides, everything. We have access to everything behind the scenes. So we will be able to go through and check and make sure that everyone is conducting conversations that are appropriate and safe and all of that kind of stuff. So, and then lastly, the bows in the air, or the bows, have to be live scanned and Megan Law checked before they will be allowed access to the MentorHub app. And the arrow also has a say in who their mentor will be.